I see that the LACM BBC joined, which is who we're going to be talking to today. It's good to see you again.
Yes, likewise, Lisa.
It's been a while.
A long while.
I think the last time we talked was orientation, honestly.
Oh, yes. That was a month and a Sunday ago.
It was. All right.
Thank you, Mom.
Do you want to just start off by introducing yourself?
Sure. My name is Charis Jones, aka Charis Reese. I am a vocal performance diploma major. Shout out to the vocal majors out there, LACM, period. You know what I'm saying? And so I hail from the DMV, that's DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and moved cross country so I can get some of that good old LA vibes and the music experience.
It's where you gotta go. It's the best place to be.
Indeed.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit just about like what that journey was from moving to LA?
Sure. I think for me, it was like I was teaching. Some people know that I was a former adjunct professor and special education English teacher. And I think I had always kind of like balanced my music career by working and, trying to also put music out at the same time. And I got to a point where I was just kind of like, I just want to give my all to music. And so basically, LACM was in my top search of schools that would be small enough for me to have access to my professors and should I need them in that capacity. And then it had a plethora of opportunities in terms of internships and placements and just connections that oftentimes you can't really get like as quickly as LACM offers you. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put my little 2 cents in and see what time says about coming on over to LACM. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. And I got accepted. We thank God for that. Yeah.
Congrats, and we're really glad you're here.
Likewise.
So I wanted to talk to you today about your club that you started.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, thank you for offering LACM BBC this platform and ensuring that we have diversity and inclusion opportunities at LACM. When I was going through classes, I just kind of felt like, man, I would see so many different new students that I otherwise wouldn't have seen. And I said, I think we need to kind of create a community environment at LACM, specifically for the students and for the students who are minority students and international students as well. So LACM BBC stands for Black and Brown Crew. So the crew is also inclusive of allies. So the biggest idea is that I just wanted to have something on campus where everyone could feel supported, right? I didn't want it to be a situation by which we just kind of go to campus, we do our work, and then we kind of roll out. I really wanted it to be like, oh, there's some Black people on campus. Let's get together on that. There's some Asian people on campus, and let's get together on that. There's some Indian people on campus. How y'all doing? Let's get together on that. And there's some dope, amazing allies that are on campus. And without the allies, Martin Luther King Jr.'s day was just on Monday. We couldn't get there alone. Every movement requires a collaborative effort from all parties involved. So that was basically the void that I saw and the need that needed to be established on campus. And so we thank all the administration, Tom and Aaron and Iris for ensuring that we could be on campus and be the official minority group of support on campus.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that was something that, like, when I had started at LACM, we didn't have any clubs at all yet. And that was a thing that we kind of started developing. And so it's a really cool thing to be able to like come onto campus and feel like this is missing and this is something I want to be represented. So being able to do that and being able to create that space and like that's incredible, and I really applaud you for coming onto campus and feeling like this is missing and I want to have this space where people can go and feel like included and feel the diversity. And Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes, Lisa. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of students, I think, mainly because probably, I've already had my master's, I have my bachelor's degree, and I remember what my college experience looked like. And even though I went to a predominantly white institution, there was always a foundational place of home, so that, for example, certain things may not be effectively understood, or you needed different supports, that you can kind of rally to those organizations to then support you in forming how you would convey something to a professor, or things that you wanted to see on campus, because there's a beautiful population of people from Mexico, from, that are Puerto Rican, that are from Peru, that are just amazing people. And I just felt like I need us to be more connected to the school versus us just kind of going to the school and then going home and then doing whatever. Because I think when we all are part of something and we buy into what the mission of LACM is, then that means it grows greater. And so that means that the name and the worth and the value of LACM only increases when we include everyone collectively.
Absolutely. Definitely. And what was the process of, can you just walk us through what the process of creating the club is like? Creating a club.
Sure. Absolutely. I got time today. So it started off with an observation. I had just blanketly noticed that there are a good amount of minority cohorts of groups on campus, but I didn't see anything that kind of correlated and connected each one of us into each other. And so that was the exception point of why I felt like, okay, let's do this, because we needed to, once I noticed that there was a need, then it was like, okay, who do I go to about trying to implement this need? And actually, I had talked to a few other colleagues on campus to say, would you be interested in something like this? Is this something that you want? And so from just doing a quick little poll in that regard, the response was overwhelmingly, of course, I wish this was here. I don't know why it's not here. So then I was like, okay, well, let me then follow the protocols, of which included me contacting Iris, and in contacting her, she was like, okay, Charis, this is what you need to do. You need to fill out this paperwork. And so then I thought about who could oversee our actual club that I know is an ally and that I know would also already is a staff member on campus. And so David Joyce, who is my department head for vocal performance, is an ally and has already been doing a massive amount of work in terms of just awareness and inclusion and recognizing privilege and how to kind of mitigate some things that sometimes are undertones that we, as sometimes not minority individuals, can recognize. And then Brian Kennedy was just hired as being the diversity and inclusion point person. And so I thought to mix these two together will really, really help that. And so by that being the case, that is kind of the form, I guess, the form and the structure of the group, so that we're supported by faculty and staff. And then, our hope is that when we have our first meeting, maybe by next week, that we can kind of delegate who then would actually be in terms of student support, and from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. What are your goals for the club? What are things that you look forward to in the future?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things that happened to me was that I was on campus and I just randomly ran into one of the professors that I had I never even saw him before. And in me not recognizing who he was, but noticing that there was a connection in the sense that we share the same shade of tone of color, I was immediately flabbergasted, oh my God, I didn't even know you worked here. So one of the biggest things that we hope to accomplish during Black History Month, which is in February, which is in a few weeks, is that we have an actual panel where all minority professors and staff that are allies will be a part of this panel, introduce themselves, kind of convey what classes they teach. And then the hope is that the LAC and BBC community could then adhere to what they're saying, and then probably take some of their classes and just kind of get out the box of just whatever track that we normally are on for all of our different majors, and allow us that flexibility of just being able to be taught by somebody who looks like us or has greater experiences that could then community help us move forward. So that's number one. The second one is to actually have a music festival, like an LACM BBC music festival, where students actually perform like it's like, you know, a real festival, like a real music festival, so that we can have a better way of showcasing the talents that are within those who identify as being part of the LACM BBC crew. So, you know, those are some of the things. And then in terms of academic things, Brian has kind of spearheaded this in terms of being able to offer a sit-down roundtable while we're on Zoom, but a sit-down roundtable to talk to the administration about some of the things and concerns that they feel are lacking and how we can grow together to make us a stronger, united body.
I love that. That open conversation is like one of the most important things you can have in a community in general, but especially when it comes to like higher education. Those are often things that are lacking, like that communication between students and faculty like that. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing where you go with this and where your crew goes with this. And yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like small things matter, minuscule things matter. So although it may not be necessarily like minority led, but like, for example, like when we're back on campus, I had noticed that like, man, there are no outlets upstairs on the second floor. And so it's more about bringing that awareness to the top so that they understand what it's like being a student, because sometimes they are very much so already busy with figuring out ways to improve the university going forward. But sometimes those small things which really matter to the student and that keeps the student wanting to be at LACM are things that we want to be able to collectively in a positive way bring to their attention and let them know how important it is. So, you know, we want to be able to start having more study groups and not necessarily individualized studying opportunities. So when we're back on campus, being able to plug your cell phone up or plug up your laptop, although may seemingly inconsequential, are really, really a big deal. And just, yeah, you know, like even having more desks so that we could sit down, you know what I'm saying, and be able to work together collectively. That's something is small, but it's a huge deal for us who are commuting back and forth to campus and want to be able to connect with other colleagues in different classes along our projects that we may have.
Yeah, absolutely. That being like feeling like you want to stay on campus is how that community will grow and build just naturally without anything. And so you have to have those small things and those small steps to keep people on campus and to keep people coming back.
Yeah, because campus life, you know, when I was going to school, campus life was everything. You wanted to stay on campus.
Yeah.
So right now, a lot of LACM, because it's so rigorous and because we're on quarters, sometimes feel like we're kind of a commuter campus. And so sometimes with it being a commuter vibe, we miss the element of just networking with all of our other colleagues that are at school, because fundamentally, this is the groundworking place for how we build, you know, because clearly, Lisa, you're gonna be somebody.
Sorry, it looks like we did.
Yeah.
But what were you saying?
I was just saying that, like, ultimately being in school with colleagues that are building their craft is something that's essential to networking later on once we leave. And to be able to say, oh, I'm an LACM alum. I know her. Let's pitch her song, you know, or somebody's probably going to be a music supervisor. I may not be that music supervisor, but I'm surely going to be with a friend that's probably a songwriter, and I'm probably singing on that track. And it will be great to be able to have that sense, that insider kind of like connection and community. I mean, for example, Lisa, you are an amazing artist, right? Like when I first saw you perform, I was like, first of all, I was like, dang, she's tall as a mug. But then two, I was like, she can sing her ass off. And then, you know, being a multi-instrumentalist, like I want to be able to know what our alum look like. You know, I want to still be connected with them. And although I'm only on campus basically for a year, I might extend it to getting the associate's degree. I still want to be able to pull back in the tool bag of alum to say, I can contact this person and they can navigate and kind of look out for me in the real world of the industry types of things.
Oh yeah, because the music industry is so much smaller than people think it is. Like the people we're going, or that we go to school with, are the people you will know for the rest of your life. It's just
exactly, because we done cried several times on theory. Okay, we done failed a couple of tests together. So at this point, we family, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a bond right there.
Exactly.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on here and talking with me. Everybody who's watching, go make sure you follow LACM BBC. Just here, I'll put it down in the
Please
chat.
do.
LACM BBC.
Through the fire together. I know that's right, Maggie. Exactly. Like, we are family. Like, it's a badge of honor. It's already a major privilege to be going to school in the pandemic, right? It's even more necessary for our own mental health to be able to provide each other that support to get through our classes together, right? Because it's not necessarily always about getting the right grade or getting a high grade, as it's more about understanding.
We did.
Yeah.
We did for a second. All right. What were you saying before it cut off? And then
oh, okay. I hope you know, I'm just going to do a quick sound bite. The point that I'm trying to make is that being a community, making LACM a home base that you feel like will always protect you and support you is very important. Also, being able to feel safe in your environment is also important. And having like people around you while also learning different cultures is important too. So I'm just trying to ensure that when we leave LACM, it's not that thank you and we're gone, that it's thank you and we're coming back, because our experience was so great, and the relationships that we acquired and built while we were in school was so substantial that we know how beneficial it is. So let's continue to kind of create that connection, because there are a lot of talented students that are at LACM, but sometimes we don't get to see each other. So like, I may not know who is in the wind instrument department, but I want to work with a producer, but I don't know who the producers are. So like, trying to make sure that although we're small and there's great benefit in us being small, that like our understanding of who we all are is that more available to us. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I know as a vocal major, I'm around a bunch of vocalists, but you know, I want to be around some songwriters, and I want to be around people who can play the drums like Vinny. You know, I want to be around people like Caleb who can play that guitar like it's the back of his hand, you know. So all of these people are very talented, and it'll be a very bad thing, unfortunate circumstance that they graduate and I never got the opportunity to kind of meet them.
Right.
So hopefully we can connect LACM BBC with LACM alum as well, so that we just start building our own community, and then also giving back, like making a scholarship available to students who identify in the LACM BBC. That would be like a long-term, like, here's some money, because I know LACM is a little expensive, but you know, here's a scholarship that was created by your peers to ensure that you can take some of that stress away from going to school, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure speaking with you and seeing you again. And
thank you, Lisa.
Talking to you very soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely, because we're going to be doing some things. Y'all got a podcast coming out, and that's a big deal. So go ahead and put the podcast on the map right now.
All right, everybody, go follow Music School Podcast. It's sponsored by LACM. So if you just look up Music School Podcast, you'll find it. And we'll be announcing ways to sign up to be a part of that very soon.
Very good. I love it. We keep it. And remember, this is a new hashtag. Hashtag LACM Proud. That is like the hashtag that I legitimately want us to kind of go for LACM BBC. Another thing I'm going to start doing is like spotlighting students on Thursdays that like do their own videos and things of that nature. And I just want them to kind of tag LACM BBC so I can find them, or hashtag LACM BBC so I can like put their videos and give them more exposure on our page, and you know, and vice versa.
Yes, definitely. Well, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I will. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.